Now that you know how to load the dimension table, let's now talk about how to load a fact table. These are actually much easier than dimension table loads because they typically have a lot less business rules. But let's talk about the business rules that you do want to apply. The first piece to keep in mind is that a fact table is made up of a series of surrogate keys and measures. These fact table surrogate keys are not what you're going to receive in your extract. So you're going to receive the business or alternate keys in your extract. That basically means that these are the primary keys for your source system. Although in your target table, you'll be using surrogate keys, which are made-up keys, usually identity columns, in the dimension tables. So your key here is to pass in the natural key into the business dimension, and then get back the surrogate key that you can then later load into the dimension table. And that's essentially what a fact table is made up with. It's a series of lookup transforms. On top of that, you have derived column transforms. And this would be to apply different business rules. For example, you may have a column that's called cost and one called price at sale. You may want to subtract those two together to get a new column called profit for your fact table. Additionally, sometimes you may need an aggregate transform to roll up the grain. In other words, let's say you have data down to the receipt level, and all you care about is to the total store level. Well, to do that, the aggregate transform would actually be a good choice in some cases, keeping in mind that the aggregate transform is a fully blocking transform and may run slow. To discuss this more, let's try it. So to do this, you're going to load Lesson48 data.csv into your fact table. That fact table's name is Fact Finance Lesson. That can be created from Lesson48 createtable.sql, which can also be found on rocks.com. You'll need a series of lookups to do this. Those lookups can be listed here. However, one more thing that's important. This file, Lesson48 data, is a flat file. And keep in mind that the connection manager for that flat file will have everything as a string 50 by default. And lookups are case sensitive and data type sensitive. So you'll need to do a series of conversions to make that match your target table. If it has the word name, it's probably an nvarchar. If it has the word date, well, it's probably a date. And I'll show you what these errors will look like to you as well. So let's get started. So I'm starting with a fresh package here. And I'm going to create a connection manager to my flat file. So let's create a new connection manager. I'll call this just extract. And I've got it. It's my file. It's a little bit in my code directory here. Oops. That's not it. Let me go to my CSV file here, which you may have to make the same mistake I just made there. And the column names are in the first row. Once you do that, go to columns, and you'll see all of your data fairly cleansed. But notice when I go to the advanced page that all my keys are a string 50. So if it says the word key, well, I want to make that a DT/DB date. Just to show you what some of the errors that you're going to see are. So I'll make that a database date. Also, the organization names, I'm going to do a multi-select here. I'm going to select all three, and I'll make them Unicode strings. The keys, these two keys right here, those should be integer 4s, or 4 byte integers. And then hit OK. We'll leave the last column alone, since it's not a part of a lookup. Next, let's drag a data flow task over, go into the data flow task. Once in the data flow task, let's also create a new connection manager that points to the AdventureWorks DW 2008 database. And let's drag the flat file source over, which has our connection manager that we just created. Hit to the extract, hit OK. And we're going to drag a number of lookup transforms over. So I'm going to drag over 5. There we go. That should get us started, at least. And we'll use them slowly here, but you'll get the point. So our first lookup transform is going to point to the dim scenario table. In the dim scenario table, I'm going to pass the scenario name in, which is my business key or alternate key, and get back the scenario key. Click OK, and I'll rename that to scenario, just so I can keep track of which ones I've done. Drag the next lookup over, and I'm going to send the matches over to here. Now typically the non-matches would go to an unknown member logic. In other words, you would typically have one row in your dimension table that they marked as 0 or -1, and that one member, that one row, would be the catch-all for everything that did not match. So the next one, let's do this one as organization. Okay, let's go back into this, and this time I'll select organization, dim organization that is. Now it would have been much simpler, much better for me performance-wise to type a select statement down here to only get the columns I need. But for brevity's sake here, I'm doing dim organization with the drop-down box here. So again, it would have been much faster for me to say, only give me the organization key and the organization name from that table. So just run a quick select statement. But instead, we'll just keep it simple. So that's organization. So the next one, so I'll send my matches over here. My next one should get point to, let's see which table we have left here. So we got the organization, we did scenario, the next one's date. So in this case, I'm going to drag over the full date alternate key, and select dim date, our date key back. Now keep in mind, if these data types don't match, your example will fail. So in that case, if your example did not match, let me go ahead and rename this. Let me show you how you'll troubleshoot that. The way you'll troubleshoot it, you'll go back to the extract, go to the advance, change this to a proper data type, whether it be Unicode or whatever. Click OK, and then you'll double click on the flat file source and reconfirm it. And that will send the metadata straight down. So we have date done. Let's go into our next one. And this time, we have the count. Okay, so this time we'll have two keys. Account code alternate key and parent account code alternate key. And get back the account key. So as you can see, you can kind of look at this and see exactly how many columns we have left. We have all the keys are starting to form, and we're only missing one last one, which is department group. So that was account. And we have a total of one more left. So yeah, I think I'll find, I have too many here. I'll delete that one and bring this one over a little closer. Connect him in. Switch my matches. And this last one should point to the dim department group. And the order that what you did this in does not really matter in our case. Department group name, and get back the department key. Click OK. I'll label that one as department so I can troubleshoot this. And let's write this to the destination. So last step, drag over an OLEDB destination. Connect the green line to it. Make sure it's a matches. Hit OK. And I want this to go to the fact finance lesson. Look at your mappings to make sure they're all matched up. It looks like we're not ignoring any columns. It's perfect. Hit OK, and then run the package. You'll see that 39,000 rows go through in 409, and look how fast it happened. The whole thing happened on my laptop in about less than a second. So 0.98 seconds. 96 seconds, excuse me. So very fast. Lookup transforms can be fast. And as you can see, it is all happening at once. It was not even a look serial. All this is happening all at one time. In this lesson, I showed you how to use a lookup transform to find the circuit keys for a fact table load. You may also have to use the derived column transform to apply additional business rules, like a profit calculation or any of the business rules like that around the math, or date diffs or those kind of things. Additionally, aggregate transforms may be required to roll up the grain. Now that we've completed all the lessons in this book, let's try to bring it all together with one final lesson.